Hey, it's Michael Kosta. It's the Tennis Anyone podcast. How you doing? Monday, March 10th. I should have looked in the mirror before I did my hair. My apologies to anybody on YouTube who's watching. It's been a crazy couple days. The book is out tomorrow, Tuesday, Lucky Loser. So we'll talk a little bit about that. Just came back from Indian Wells. Thank you, Tennis Channel, for bringing me in to talk with Steve Weissman and Prakash Armitraj on the Tennis Channel desk. Look for that. That should be airing soon. Was able to watch some tennis, was able to play some tennis, was able to sleep, was able to fly 12 hours because of connecting flight issues. I'm spent, and the book hasn't even come out yet. And typical of all things showbiz, it takes forever to get this thing done, purchased, written, edited. There's still some typos in there, which infuriates me, right? Right? And yeah, and then of course it all just happens and I'm going to blink. It's going to be April and no one's going to give a shit. So anyways, had a lot of fun at Indian Wells. It's a great place to watch a tennis tournament. I will say this. I'm not usually negative on Indian Wells. It was so packed. It was so packed. None of the matches that I wanted to watch could I even get in. There's huge lines. This is all a great problem for tennis. I did watch Brooksby beat Auger Aliassime. I snuck into the photo pit, and then after after a break in the second set, someone said, "Hey, you're not allowed to be in here." It's kind of like always fighting. You know, I have this media badge, which is great until it isn't. They kind of let you in everywhere, but then as soon as it's crowded, they kick you out. The same thing happened at the French when I was watching Holger Rune beat Cerundolo in 5. I was there for like 4.5 sets watching the whole thing front row. And then eventually all the real photographers come over and need space. And you're sitting there, you know, with your like fanny pack wearing a Tennis Channel media badge. And like, who the fuck are you? Then you pretend like you don't speak English. Then they start to speaking you in French and you don't speak that either. So then they kick you out. But I can also say Indian Wells is great. It is so much more user-friendly and nice than the U.S. Open. You've heard me say that a million times. When I first walked in this time, I saw Gardner on his hands and knees picking through the flowers to make sure everything looked right. There wasn't any trash anywhere. There's water refill stations everywhere. There's a Moet Chandon champagne tent. There's real food. The gift shops have awesome branded clothing and Indian Wells. It was a long line to buy stuff. I mean, it is a great tournament. The sunsets are nuts. Watching Casper Ruud practice Saturday morning with the mountains. It's just amazing. It's an amazing place to play tennis. Tennis is live and well. My whole hotel filled with tennis players, filled with golfers. I mean, it is wild to fly into Palm Springs when you live in Brooklyn and work on The Daily Show. You would have never known that Trump is president. He just told the Ukrainian president to fuck off. Democracy is up for sale. These little pockets of wealth, whiteness. I mean, that's the other thing that's wild that I notice. Here in Brooklyn, you're just so, siren just started on cue when I said Brooklyn. You're just so inundated with everything, right? And food, culture, language, race, gender. I mean, I'm inundated with all different types of gender. Used to only be 2. Pronouns, clothing, haircuts. And look, most of the time it's great. It can get overwhelming. Then you go to Palm Springs and you see white rich, Mercedes, Lexus. And it's kind of it can feel comfortable, especially if you're white and rich. But then it starts to really kind of wear on me a little bit. I know there's more stuff out there, and this whole little pocket seems totally unaware of that. Now, maybe that pocket would say, no, that's what we're paying for. We're paying for that exclusivity. I don't really have any big conclusion to that other than the world is big and there's a lot of different stuff everywhere. So if you're not feeling like where you are is the right spot, or you don't fit in, or you're itching or yearning for something else, go for it. It's out there. I ran the gamut from boarding the air. I did New York 1 Friday morning with Shannon Ferry, who, by the way, read the book. Thank you, Shannon. Lucky loser. Had great questions. Thoughtful questions, generous questions. Get on an airplane, speed through traffic, fly to Palm Springs, like 11 hours, something insane. I mean, there's no direct flights to Palm Springs, so you got to connect, blah, blah, blah. And land in Palm Springs, go to sleep, wake up, and it's like, oh shit, my hotel has grass tennis courts? What? There's motor coaches of golfers, middle-aged men with beer guts and way too expensive clubs going on a golf outing. And I always struggle with this as a human and as a member of society. I want to be rich. I want to be successful. I want to travel. I want to stay in nice hotels. I want to fly first class. But I also don't want to contribute to inequality, climate change, white privilege. It's just, it's easier to be ignorant. Let's put it that way. It's easier to be ignorant. It's easier to live in the gated community and not care about the other stuff. And when you live in Brooklyn, and by the way, I'm no hero. It's not like I live in Brooklyn and I'm some activist. I just live in Brooklyn because it's where we decided to live, probably because it was cheaper. But you do end up seeing the world through so many different lenses here. And I think that's really important. I think it's really important. And there's all different ways to do it. You can live in the bubble and travel outside of the bubble. You can live outside of the bubble and then choose to go live in a bubble. And Brooklyn, by far, is its own bubble also, right? I can see, this was like during COVID when you would call your friend who didn't have any neighbors, who lived 2 miles away from everybody. And he would go like, "What this COVID thing is silly. It doesn't really exist, or it's not affecting us, or all you guys in the city are crazy." And it's like, well, yeah, your world is your truth. You don't have neighbors, or it doesn't seem that big of a deal to you. Everyone's overreacting about COVID. Yeah, to us, it probably feels that way because you're looking at it from your world. And from my world, I'm saying, you put on a mask, guy who lives on a farm. You're gonna spread COVID. And he's like, I don't have neighbors. So people in Palm Springs probably watch people in Brooklyn bitch about how democracy is up for sale and this, and this, and go, you guys are out of your mind. Just like we go there and go, you guys are out of your mind. You think this is the world we live in? Maybe we're both right. Also, I would say in general, the people who live in Palm Springs, Palm Springs is pretty liberal. They probably didn't vote for Donald Trump. But white wealth, in general, white wealth, I find right now, and I don't really put myself in that category. Maybe I should, but I don't consider myself white wealth. I would say white wealth is feeling pretty appeased right now. Their guy is president. Tax cuts are coming. They don't feel as afflicted as if a trans Muslim was president. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? This is the Tennis Anyone podcast. I ran into Jim Courier, had a nice chat with him, thanked him for his endorsement on the back of the book. Here's what he said. He said, I really liked your book. I actually read it, and I loved it, is what he said. And here's his quote from the back of the book. Like Kosta, this book is a winner. Boom. Michael brings us along for the ride as he chases a career in two brutal, unforgiving, and awesome professions, pro tennis and the stand-up comedy world. His raw and ultimately rewarding journey reveals that the traits one needs to be a pro athlete, discipline, self-confidence, mental toughness, are also must-haves in comedy. Jim Courier, 4-time Grand Slam champion, former world number 1. I made HarperCollins put that on there because they were like, let's just put Jim Courier. And I was like, I want to put his cred. I want to put his resume. What was funny is I said to him, it's so cool that I am now in a position where I actually can just talk to a guy like that, you know? It's not like we have to be connected through a publicist. Like, I'm just sitting there chatting with him. It's great. And I said, like a big dumb idiot, what's the best you did here at Indian Wells? And he goes, oh, I won it. And then Brett Haber was like, you couldn't go any further than that? So he won it. And then right before I sat down to record this, I quickly looked it up. He won it twice. 91, he beat Guy Forget, 4-6, 6-3, 4-6, 6-3, 7-6 in the fifth. They used to play 3 out of 5 in the final. Remember that? Then, I think he won 93. 93, he beat Wayne Ferreira 3-3-1. This is what blew me away. Edberg won in 90. Courier 91. 92, Michael Chang. 93, Courier. 94, Pete Sampras. Okay, we're going to go on a big Pete Sampras run, right? 95, Pete Sampras. 96, Michael Chang. Boo! Steffi Graf. 96, Michael Chang. 97, Michael Chang. Boo! Lindsay Davenport. 98, Marcelo Rios. So, yeah, did you know Michael Chang won Indian Wells 3 times? Did you know Jim Courier won Indian Wells twice? Did you know Marcelo Rios, Martina Hingis, won Indian Wells 1998? Did you know Mark Philippoussis won in 99? Serena won in 99? How many did Serena win? Unless she stopped playing, right? Because of the tournament director or whatever. Did you know that Alex Correia won in year 2000? Lindsay Davenport. Did you know that Andre Agassi won in 2001? Serena Williams. Did you know? That's probably the most standard right there. Did you know that Leighton Hewitt won in 2002? Daniela Hunchakova. Did you know that? Did you? 2003, Leighton Hewitt, Kim Clijsters. Speaking of Kim Clijsters, ran into her. That was very cool. Chatted with her a little bit. Roger Federer, 2004, Justine Henin. Oh, I love Justine Henin watching her. Kim Clijsters again, 2005. Roger Federer, 2005. 2006, Roger Federer, Maria Sharapova. Jesus, 2007. Nadal, Daniel Hunchakova again. 2008, Novak Djokovic, Ana Ivanovic. Remember her? Jeez, I'm having fun doing this game. Are you having fun? 2009, Nadal. 2009, women, Vera Zvonareva beat Ivanovic in the final, who won the year before. I don't think I have ever even said Vera Zvonarareva's name. I'm having too much fun doing this. 2010, Ivan Lubicic. Yelena Jankovic. You know her. 2011, Novak Djokovic, Caroline Wozniacki. Okay. 2012, Fed, Victoria Azarenka. I remember that. Now we're getting to what I remember. 2013, Nadal, Sharapova. 2014, Novak, Panetta. God, there's a lot of people I wouldn't have expected. 2015, Novak Djokovic, Simona Halep. It is kind of that time of the year when it's maybe people who you don't always expect. Yannick Sinner's not even playing. He's serving his 90-day suspension. Zverev was the first seed, I think, and he was sick last week. He lost. There's been a lot of good lucky loser action. Botic van Zandt de Blandersloop. Speaking of lucky loser, one thing that was cool the Tennis Channel did, thank you Heath Woodleaf, the producer there, he introduced me to Ava Lees, the German 23-year-old who actually has a good social media. So that's, she's at least thinking about her life after tennis, but she's only 23. She's 78 in the world. You know her from Lucky Loser in Australia this year, where she made the round of 16. There's a great video of a commentator telling her how much money she was going to make, which was like $480,000. And she had no idea and had a very organic, authentic reaction to, oh my God, I've never even heard of that much money. Let's see if it's right here.
Because I've never went that far in the tournament. That is insane. That's a number I have never even heard in my life.
That's a number I've never even heard of in my life. That's what she said when she found out she was going to make at least $420,000 the Australian Open. So she was Lucky Loser Australia, made the round of 16, was Lucky Loser again here in Indian Wells and lost first round. But on the men's side, Lucky Loser Botic van Zen Zibelangersloop beat Novak Djokovic. Is still in the tournament, I think. For those of you that don't know what a lucky loser is, it's somebody who does not qualify for the main draw, who loses in the last round of the qualifying, but then due to a sickness, a default, a missed flight, an injury, someone in the main draw cannot play, and they let someone who lost in the last round qualifying in. It's a perfect term. You lost, but you're lucky and you get in the main draw. And what I told Eva Lees in our interview while I was pushing my book was it always annoys me when the media is like, oh my God, can you believe a lucky loser made the round of 16? Or can you believe the lucky loser won the tournament, which has also happened many, many times? And I go, yeah, I can't understand it. Because you don't realize how fucking good the people are in the qualifying, you dumbasses. Yes, I can believe it. It's like when people who don't know tennis, when I tell them my career high ranking, which is still my email signature number 864, and they go, oh, I don't even know they rank that many. Well, they do rank that many. What's your world ranking? Loser? Unlucky loser? That should be my second book. So it was fun to talk to Eva. I think she's going to be a star in the game. She's 23 years old. She's 78 in the world. She didn't get in because she was 91 at the time in the world, had to play qualifying, but big personality. My only fear of an attractive young woman who's good in front of the camera and social media who's trying to play tennis, and I'll call this the Jeannie Bouchard syndrome, there's a few others too, is that they get so much media attention so early that it doesn't tie in with their success on court. It's an unbalanced level of attention, endorsement, celebrity that they can't keep, the effort needed to win seems like a longer and more difficult path than to take the easy money. Now, I will say this about Coco Gauff. That's what blows me away about Coco Gauff. I mean, she is charismatic, attractive, a winner, nice, good on camera, black, and she's getting so much, she already did, so much camera attention, celebrity, but it does seem like that hunger to actually win and improve and keep going is there. And that's the hard part, the hunger. That comes from within. Now, one thing I'll tell you about Ava Lees, born in the Ukraine, family in Ukraine. She lives in Germany, was raised in Germany. But the reason I bring that up is, there might be some nice edge and hunger there because that comes from within. And the one thing I can tell you about privilege and money and non-privilege and no money, a hunger or a drive to succeed exists in everybody at every step of the way. If I had to put my money on a poor person making it versus a rich person, that's actually a very good question. The poor person will have more drive in general, but the rich person will have more resources. What you really want is a rich person who has the poor person drive. What you want is rich person's resources, poor person's drive. There we go. That's good. I just nailed it. That's the name of my third book. Poor person drive, rich person resources. I just pulled up the draw of Indian Wells and it said Stefan Edberg. I'm like, that was 19 whatever. Ava Lee's women's side, Sabalenka, lucky loser, Kartal. Plays Kudermatova in the third round. Love seeing a lucky loser make it that far. Coco Gauff in the third round against Sakari. Bencic. Emma Navarro plays Donna Vekic. 10 seed versus a 19 seed. Madison Keys is playing right now versus Mertens. Rybakina. Andreeva. By the way, I watched Andreeva last night. And it's always creepy when you're a man and you're talking about a woman, right? But the first time I watched Andreeva was 3 years ago at the French Open, and she looked like a kid, and I was like, man, people really love this girl. She's got a lot of growing up. I watched her yesterday. I'm like, who is this giant, huge, athletic woman crushing the ball? So that was fun to see. Those little progress, those little improvements that we make every day, that they don't seem like much to us, but someone like me who hasn't seen her play in 3 years, and you actually watch and you go, holy shit, it's working, girl. Svitolina beat Collins. I mean, I watched Collins when I landed in Indian Wells, and man, I just love her personality, but it's like, it's too much. I mean, tennis needs more of all that, and I'm sure she's a good person, and we have a lot in common, college tennis. We know some of the same people. I've never actually met her. Would love to get her on this pod. But it's like people were cheering, and she's about to serve, and she just snaps on them, and it's like, just chill for a sec. You can still have your big fun personality and not be mean, right? Right? Yeah, so that's the women. Iga's already in the round of 16. Men, Jensen Brooksby. The feeling in the Tennis Channel green room was that Jensen Brooksby got a raw deal with these 3 missed tests that were failed tests. As a fan, when I read all this shit, I thought he fucked up because you wouldn't keep missing tests unless you were cheating. Also, what I heard, and I got to check this before I say it. All right. Yes. So I was going to say this, and then I was like, I don't know if this is true. Pro tennis player Jensen Brooksby tells the Associated Press he's autistic. This was last December. And it would explain some of the abnormalities in watching him and his behavior, and also maybe could explain why he missed some of these tests. I don't know. This is written as like a big editorial, which I don't want to read. It's just something I don't want to have to keep to myself. Brooksby said over a post-workout lunch about 20 miles east. It's obviously a personal topic that even with people you may feel very comfortable with, and in my mind, at least for a long time, it wasn't something to just go blurting about a conversation. He was nonverbal until he was the age of 4. But I've always thought about it, and I eventually just wanted to talk about it. As a kid, he spent 40 hours a week with therapists to be able to even just start talking and then to get better at communication in social situations. Wow. And then it goes, what is autism? Wow. Wow. That is wild. Brooksby, who presented as a very severe case as a child, now is on the very mild end of the spectrum, according to Michelle Wagner, a board-certified behavior analyst whose area of specialty is autism spectrum disorders. She said she first began working with Brooksby when he was 2 years, 9 months, and had been diagnosed by others. The progress he made, Wagner said, is an unusual and unique outcome. This is an example. You talk about resources and drive. I don't know the financial situation here, but if you're poor and you have autism, I don't think you're getting those types of resources, and it's a credit to him and his family. Wow. He was nonverbal, and now he's a top 100 tennis player in the world? What? I wish I had autism. Don't repeat that. That was a bad joke. But it does say something about the drive. I don't have it. And I got to 864. He does have it, and he was top 50 in the world. That reminds me of a very off-color, terrible joke I told once that I will never repeat. And even just thinking about it right now makes me laugh, but also I will never say it. And I did it in front of Comedy Central on a showcase. And they came up to me afterward and they said, hey, you had a good showcase, but you can never say that joke again. It was about the Olympics, and it was about how there were a lot of medalists who seemed to go through a lot of the same trauma. What else am I going to write to you guys about? Brett Haber reminded me that Julian Benito, who was a player I played last round qualies at Indianapolis, was maybe the only pro player to lose all 8 finals that he was in, which is such a brutal stat, but also amazing to make 8 finals. You guys, my book is out. Please buy it. Bookshop.org supports independent bookshops. You can also buy it on Amazon, obviously, but might as well go bookshop.org, supporting independent bookshops. It's on Audible. It's on Spotify. Jon Stewart lended his name. Chelsea Handler, Jim Courier, Trevor Noah, Jim Gaffigan. Thank you to all of those people. It's got some great pictures in here of me as a tennis player when I was 8. I mean, look at some of this stuff. Just truly disgusting. It's got me starting out in comedy, going to college, transferring from tennis to comedy. Me doing one of my first sets at the Appleton Skyline Comedy Club in Appleton, Wisconsin, moving to LA, showcasing all the way to late night debut. It's funny. I meant to write this book as a funny book. My goal is to make people laugh and enjoy themselves and forget about their life for a second. You will also learn some stuff, and you will also feel inspired that the path we're all on, whether we're successful or not, is attributing to and will prepare you for the next path you're on. Because guess what? You're on a next path, and you don't always know what it is. And for me, my next path was comedy. I didn't even realize that. And who knows what my next path will be. And definitely being a comedian, success and failures and all that I've learned will prepare me and help me for that next path. Isn't that nuts? That book's going to be awesome. It's going to be called The Luckiest Small Dog Only Vet in the World. And it'll be me and a microphone and then going to like me putting thermometers up little dogs' butts. Hear that, Walter? Ladies and gentlemen, this is Tennis Anyone Pod. Thank you for listening. Thank you to Tennis Channel for having me out. Look for me this week on Morning Joe. Look for me this week on Seth Meyers. Look for me this week on Joe Rogan. I'll be at Mothership in Austin this weekend. There's a lot of other book signing and there's book signing and stand-up dates coming up. Toronto, Newtown, Connecticut. A lot of good stuff. It's all on michaelkosta.com. Appreciate you. Game, Set, Match, Costa. Buy my book. I really appreciate it. Or leave a rating and review on Tennis Anyone Podcast. Game, Set, Match, Costa.